Okay, 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti ROIHANAH POHAN, binti TARMIZI POHAN. My matrix number is 10 DIT 24F1077. Assalamualaikum. My name is MUNAWWARAH binti NAZRUL KASSMIZI and my matrix number is 10 DIT 24F1089.
Assalamualaikum. My name is NURUL ILYANA FAZLIN binti ZAINI. My matric number is 10 DIT 24F1083.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is SHARIFAH binti SYED KAMIL. My matrix number is 10 DIT 24F1140.
Okay, so we're gonna present about the introduction to human-computer interaction. Without further ado, let's go to the first slide. Okay, so what is HCI? So HCI is human-computer interaction. The short form is HCI, and it is the discipline concerned with the design, evaluation, and implementation of interactive system for human use and needs. Also, with the study of major phenomena surrounding them, like computer science, psychology, and design. Also, emphasizing user experience to enhance technology adoption and improve engagement. Okay, so next slide is about the key component of human computer interaction, HCI. So firstly, we need basically we need human, which is a user. So there is, of course, we need physically human have hands, eyes, voices used for interaction, and then using by experience level, there is a beginner, intermediate, and expert in technology. And then next we have interactive process. Okay, so it is the way user and system communicate with each other. So as the HCI designer, they should think about how to make your goal easier to achieve efficiently and safely when you use the technology. Okay, and then lastly, we need computer or system or devices. So any interactive technology, for example, like desktop, smartphone, smartwatch, and so on, also include hardware and software. So also the tools and interface that be used for computer is screen resolution, display size, color contrast. Next, relevant of HCI to modern system design. There's a lot, but I choose three only, which is um, the most, I think, HCI um, uh, can be used for modern system design, which is enhanced user experience, which is focused on how user feel during interaction, helps in creating intuitive and enjoyable system, meaning that they are satisfied to use the interface. Also, adapt to new technology trends. For example, the technology trends is like touchscreen voices, user interface VUI, also visual reality. So next is drive innovation, meaning here that user-centered design leads to creative solution and features. For example, gesture control, adaptive interface, chatbots. Also, uh, sorry, but we're gonna to the next slide. Okay, so user interface. So what is user interface? User interface refer to visual and interactive element of software or website that enables user to interact with it, such as button and menus. It is the point of communication between the end user and the technology. End user is like us, human, and the technology is computer or any devices, and it encompasses all aspects of the design, layout, and functionality of a system interface. Okay. The importance of HCI in user experience. There's a lot of importance, but I choose only four. Okay, firstly is improving usability. Okay, so HCI focuses on designing interface that are easy to navigate, reducing the learning curve for user. So meaning, uh, it HCI designer should be focused on how user will use it, so it more usable lah. Okay. Then enhancing satisfaction. Positive user experience is closely linked to satisfaction. HCI help in understanding user behavior, preference, and needs, allowing designer to create interface that fulfill these requirements. So of course, as a user, when we love it, we will repeat to use it. Okay, and then mitigating error, meaning that we need to emphasize prevention and recovery, meaning that we get the feedback from user that we will improve it, and then boosting accessibility. Corporate incorporate accessibility principle, ensuring that digital systems are usable by the diverse range of users, including individual with disability. Okay, so this is the resources link that I use for all the information, and I will pass it to next member. Alright, so next is about how computer technology can influence the interaction and also the interface design. Virtual First of all, we focus on virtual reality system and 3D visualization. So virtual reality is actually, the short form is VR. So we know that what is the VR, right? Because it's totally popular, uh, especially to the West side. Next, okay, VR is actually give an impression of the finished project, and it's actually a medium that transport us to real or imagined place, like what our imagined place, and then a medium that allows us to connect to people, character, or places on an emotional level. So, for instance, we, as a layman, walk through the hallways and experience the pattern of movement by using the VR. So in this way, you can spot potential optimization opportunities, and at the same time, if there's any mistakes on the if there's any mistake, it can give you the opportunity to add some changes to the project without larger economic or time-wise consequences. So for the next is 3D visualization. 3D visualization is actually abstract sketch and dreamlike work picture through to photorealistic display. And the purpose we do 3D visualization is to creation of the best for analysis. We do it for the analysis, decision making, and to exhibit project sketch to sell a project to clients, authorities, or other end users. So move on to the next slide is positioning in 3D space. So positioning in 3D space is actually relative to this axis. The position of any point in three-dimensional space is given by the multiple of real number, each number giving the distance of the point from the origin measure along the given axis, which is it's actually equal to the distance of that point from the plane determined by the other two axes. And then next is the x coordinates. So as you guys can see the diagram, the x coordinate define the horizontal space in the scene, while y is defined to the vertical space, and z or z as the third dimension by defining the depth to and away from the origin. So every object in three-dimensional space can move horizontally, which is left and right, and vertically is up and down, and last forward and backward. So that is for X, Y, and Z. So next is 3D displays. The 3D display is a display device capable of conveying depth to the viewer. Many 3D displays are stereoscopic display, which produce a basic 3D effect by means of stereopsis, but it can cause eye strain and visual fatigue. So, to upgrade from the old 3D display to the newer 3D display, to reduce the cost of eye strain, so we make some transformation or a new deformation, which is this is a newer 3D display, which is it have holography and light field display, and the advantage of the newer 3D display is can produce a more realistic 3D effect, and it can cause less visual fatigue. So what we see in 3D is actually they use stereoscopic vision, and it's also have VR helmets. So next for the VR headset. VR headset is a device worn over the eyes to create an immersive computer-generated environment that simulates a three-dimensional world. It replaces the user view of the real world with a digital one, allowing them to interact with virtual objects and environment as if they were real. So the key components include display, lens, tracking system, and input devices like controllers. So this is the pros and cons for the VR headset. Which is first for the pros, which or the advantage of the VR headset is promote physical activity, which is it's no more slouching on the couch with a game controller. And this VR allows us to play games that make them dance and jump around the living room, which is so entertaining while we use the VR headset. And then next, improve hand-eye coordination, which is when we use the VR headset, we know where our body is in space, even when we cannot see what's really there, but it's still something, a skill or technology that can be improved upon with VR headsets. And then for the cons, for the disadvantage of the VR headset is it can create a high risk for inappropriate content. And the next is open the door to predatory behavior. And last but not least, impact vision and causes potential motion sickness. So next is VR motion sickness. So what is VR motion sickness? It's actually a form of motion sickness that occurs when using virtual reality or VR or mixed reality or MR technology. So the cause of VR motion sickness first is sensory conflict, which is the primary cause is the discrepancy between what the eyes perceive in the VR environment and what the body vestibular system sense. And then second is technical issues. Low frame rates, high latency lag, and incorrect interpupillary distance can exacerbate the sensory conflict and contribute to motion sickness. And last but not least is individual susceptibility. Some individuals are naturally more prone to motion sickness, and factors like age, sex, and experience with VR can also play this as a role. And then symptoms of VR motion sickness is nausea, dizziness, disorientation, eye strain, headache, sweating, fatigue, drowsiness, apathy, and so on. There's a lot. And then this is tips to reduce our VR motion sickness for those someone who have this motion sickness. So first is reduce sensory conflict. And then second, choose VR experience carefully. Next, third is adjust VR settings. And then next, consider a wider field of view. Stay hydrated, avoid alcohol, caffeine, and large meals before VR session. And then next, ensure good ventilation, gradual exposure. Start with short section first. Don't take a long session because first time using, yeah, because we are first time using the VR, right? So we must take a short session first and then take breaks. Next, focus on the horizon, adjust your breathing, and consider using ginger, ginger, ginger or peppermint. All right. Next is simulators and VR cave. All right. Actually, the word cave is an acronym for Cave Automatic Virtual Environment. So it is a virtual reality space where the walls, the floor, and ceiling act as giant projection surface to create a highly immersive virtual environment. So the walls, as you guys can see the diagram here, the walls are actually stereoscopic rear projection screens, which is it rear projection screen diffuse light through the material, and this being positioned behind the screen while front projection screens reflect light. So for the pros of this VR cave, the advantage of this VR cave is actually accommodate multiple users simultaneously, and then next, engaging learning environments, and then third, enabling users to practice skills, and last but not least, to explore complex scenarios. So this is the link or the resource link for to do some research. And then next, I'm going to pass to Sharifah.
Right. Thank you, Mona, for the presentation just now. So I will take over the presentation. Alright. So I'll proceed with the example of virtual reality system and 3D visualization. Like just now, Munawwar just talk about the 3D and she just elaborate in detail. And I'm going to tell you guys the examples lah. So 3D visualization is the process of creating graphics and rendering designs using 3D software, enabling users to view objects in a 3D perspective. So there's four major fields that they always use 3D. For example, e-commerce for product reviews, architecture for building design, obviously, game development, and medical imaging. So in these four major fields, they always use 3D visualization. Like for example, medical, like they always use the scanner to scan our hearts, to scan all the elements in our body. So these four major fields often use 3D visualization. So in 3D virtual reality technology application, so I'm going to talk about 3D virtual reality technology application. So it has three, which is the first one is efficient spaces, or 3D user interface intuitive human. Intuitive means easy and convenient. Second is visualization of geometry, objects modeling and reconstruction. In geometrical also they use 3D. For example, the space, or they want to scan whatever it is, so they will just use 3D things. And visualization in scientific computing. Also in science they often use 3D because it is more convenient and it is more detailed for them to clarify all the things that they want to find out lah. Next slide, Muna. And there's a little flow chart there, which is the first one is simulation, then post processing, VR system, and then it composed to three different categories, which is visual, acoustic, and haptic. This chart, not chart, this flow is actually a flow of how the 3D, how the machine can come out with the 3D things, which is the outcome of the 3D. So basically, this is just an example. In engineering, they often use the CAD software to design the car parts, for example, in mechanical engineering. So as for example, I already put the picture there. So that's the the point of view of CAD software that they use to design the car parts. And then the second one, like I've said before, medicine. The medicine doctor and student use 3D models to study the human body, like the picture that I put there. Um, Human hearts and all, they use the 3D things to understand better about the patient's condition. And then last but not least is in architecture. So architecture is very similarly with 3D lah, because they want to see whether the thing they want to design and things, right? So they can see and they can walk through the design before it is built. So it is very easy for them and very convenient for them to use 3D before they build up the things. So they use the SketchUp to build a house in 3D point of view. So these three major fields use 3D lah. So these three major fields use 3D, and this is the best example that I could give. So that's all from me, and I pass this back to Lena.
Okay, thank you. Sharifah. I will explain about physical device. Okay, physical device is a tangible piece of hardware that can be held and interacted with directly. Okay, we have three types of physical device, which is sound, smell, and sensor. Okay, sound refer to the speaker or buzzer is a physical output device that produce sound such as beeps, bongs, whistles, and wires. Okay, next is smell. Smell is a scent or olfactory device is a physical output device that release specific smells as feedback to the user. Okay, last is sensor. Sensor are physical input device that detect change the our environment and send feedback to the computer. Okay, next. This is example and this is the purpose and with example. Okay, first is sound. Sound are used for error alerts like beeps when you enter the wrong password or for confirmation like keyboard clicks. Okay, for example, when you enter wrong password, the sound will out which is the sound is beep, bounce, claws, whistles, and whiz. Okay. And if you use for error condition, the sound will out also will out. Okay. Next smell. Okay. Sense can create immersive environments in virtual reality or be used to alert users. Also enhancing sensory experience. Um, Last is sensor. Sensor can measure the same thing in different ways. For example, touch, motion, light, or temperature. Okay. If for example, even our own bodies can actually as a sensor. Like when we use facial recognition or heart rate scanners, we have the sensor when our body is scanned. Okay. Kalau okay, next. Okay, next is memory capacity. Memory capacity refer to the amount of information a memory system, whether human or electronic, can store and retrieve. Other than that, human cannot remember all the things, must be processed and managed. Because of that, we have memory capacity. Even even human or technology device and context is very important in memory capacity. Okay, we have 4 types of memory capacity, which is short-term memory, long-term memory, blurring boundaries, and finite processing speed. Okay, next is first is short-term memory. Okay, RAM refer to the random access memory. Random access memory. It store data temporarily while the computer is running. Most desktop computers have between 64 to 256 megabyte of RAM. Okay, second is long-term memory. Okay, long-term memory have two main types. which is magnetic disk and optical disk. Okay, magnetic disk is floppy disk store around 1.4 megabytes. Hard disk typically 40 gigabytes to 100 s of gigabyte. Access time 10 minutes. Transfer rate 100. Second is optical device. Optical disk. This use lasers to read and sometimes write data. They are more durable than magnetic disk. For example, in CD room, we have 600 megabyte. DVD is also DVD. It can store very large file. Okay, third is blurring boundaries. Okay, this day the line between RAM and permanent memory is getting blurred. Okay, device like PDAs often use RAM as their main memory. Flash memory is used in PDAs, camera, USB drive. It's silicon based and permanent. Okay, last is 5 minute processing speed. Even though computer are fast, they have limits. If too many tasks run at the same time, performance will slow down. Okay, this can lead to problem like cursor overshooting when the mouse pointer move too fast or skips. Okay, icon was when too many icons appear or respond at once or at the same time, and the it will be problem on the technology device. Okay, that's all from me.
Right, so the conclusion. So, in conclusion, human-computer interaction (HCI) is a vital field that focuses on designing user-friendly systems that bridge the gap between humans and technology. It emphasizes the importance of usability, user experience, and intuitive design to ensure that digital systems are accessible and efficient. So, as technology continues to evolve, the role of HCI becomes even more critical in shaping how we interact with computers in daily life, from mobile apps and websites to virtual reality and smart devices. By understanding user needs and behavior, HCI helps create systems that are not only functional but also enjoyable to use. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.